Everyone, Kim here, Abundant Life Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me for another Mystery Mystic reading. I was hoping that I did not have to do this reading because I was hoping that Nancy Guthrie would have been found by now. She was last seen January 31st, 2026 at approximately 9:46 p.m. And I'm recording this reading as of Monday, February 16th, 2026 at 1:14 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, and she's still missing. Check out part 1. I did a detailed oracle reading. Many of the questions that we have surrounding like her state of being, some of the things that have been unfolding over the course of the last few weeks and what's to come is discussed in that reading, okay? What we're going to do now is ask specific questions. I have a whole list of questions that we're going to ask, and they will be timestamped so we can jump to them in the future with ease. I also want to mention that I did record a standalone reading this morning about her current state of being and what was her state of being when she left the home. And I felt a way about publishing it to the channel. You all let me know if it's something I should. I want to be super respectful of her loved ones, of Nancy, obviously, but of her loved ones, because I get an intuitive, strong feeling that they believe she is still with us and she is just waiting to be rescued. And I want to be respectful of that. And I did touch on some of these things as far as like her state of being in part 1. And I didn't want to like just keep rehashing that, you know? And I want us to just be like okay with being totally wrong. If we're picking up that she has passed on, and it turns out she's alive, that would be an amazing thing, right? Likewise, if we were right about her passing on, we don't want to be like gloating. And this is terrible. This is a terrible situation. And I know many of us have been gripped with following the case since it broke. God, like at the start of February. So yeah. So what I did was I put that standalone video about her state of being. It's a tarot and oracle reading. It's about 11 minutes long. And I put it on for my channel members. And I will fill out the temperature with y'all to see if it's something I should publish to the main channel. Okay. But it's 11 minutes long. It's short-ish for me. And yeah, it gets the tarot and the oracle talking together, gets right to what it needs to say. I'll just leave it at that. So now, without further ado, let's get into these questions that we've got. Question number 1. We need clues on where to find Nancy. Locations she may have been taken to at some point between, February 1st to present day, February 16th, if that is even something going on. So we're going to use the tarot. I'm using the New Era Elements Tarot. Clues on where to find Nancy. Locations she may have been taken, So let's see what we got. Mother of Fire. Mother of Fire. Mother of Fire. Oh, Lord. The Devil. Mother of Earth in reverse. So we've got a Mother of Fire, the Devil, and then this is the Mother of Earth, but she's in reverse. It's interesting to me. All right, we're going to pull some oracle. Okay, I've got these places oracles, right? I have mine, and then I have this one that I purchased. So we're going to see We can get any clues. This is going to be a bigger spread because we want to get all the clues we can get. Right when I looked at this, and I see all of that going on in this devil card. It's like a wasteland of some sort with that devil card, and like geopolitical stuff going on. And so what do we know? We know that Tucson is near the border. All right. We know that. Not that Mexico is a wasteland. I love Mexico. But that this particular area, look at that drought. This particular area that she's taken has been affected maybe by famine. We have commune. Okay. Any other from this deck? That's interesting. Dawn. Oh. Taking at dawn. Whatever could have taken however long. Okay, let's think about this for a moment. However long it took from when her pacemaker went like silent, or they couldn't pick up a signal anymore. What was that, 2 something in the morning till dawn? However long it took to travel. So how many hours is that? Dawn. Maybe if dawn in Tucson is at 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. I'll have to check. But perhaps we could look at a radius of what, 4 hours? 4 hours of drive time to take her. And remember, one of the cards that came up in the opening oracle reading was 1,000 kilometers. Now, I thought that was speaking to somebody who was trying to flee the country, and it still could be. But it could be like how long they traveled. I don't know. And this is interesting. We got drought. So like a water, like area where there's limited water resources, and commune. That's interesting. We got fuel stations, so there could be evidence of them traveling and stopping at the gas station. Kitchen. Okay. Lighthouse. I'm called to pull one more from this deck. Okay. All right. I'll read the tarot. I'm going to read all of these cards in their totality in a moment. I want to put the cards down first. I have this other little deck here that I love. The Divine Crime Oracle. We'll see if we can get any clues. This is the one that had the kilometers cards in it. Let's see if we get anything there. If not, it's okay. Uniform impersonation. It's not good. I want locations, Spirit. Yeah. It's not giving me what I need, but we'll set these to the side. I'm looking specifically for cards dealing with areas of focus where she could be. Oh, what is this? February. No. It's like, okay. If nothing else comes up from this deck, I'll just read this question. Body of water, boat. We got a boat card, I believe, in part 1. Pretty sure. Hold on. Let me see. Yeah, we did. We sure did. Body of water, a boat. So, keep that there for a moment. All right, and these are off to the side. We got the month of February, which isn't surprising. Hopefully it means February that all of this is like we get some real concrete answers about where's Nancy and what happened to her. We've got uniform, impersonation, corruption, and false. Spirit wants to talk more about that. I might do a standalone discussion on that, and maybe publish it to the channel members, because I don't want to just keep browbeating you all with a bunch of videos. And then we have here lust, affair, temptation, and infidelity. That could be also something I want to talk about separately. Right now, we're just concerned with the cards telling us where she is, or what clues on where she could be. Now, the Mother of Earth in reverse is interesting to me, because this is showing an elderly woman. It's in reverse, and so it's like, okay, obviously, you know, she's not home. She's away. She's far away from home, unsettled, yanked from her home. And I did get some cards that were, let me see if I can find it. There it is. There was one that spoke to 1,000 kilometers, mountains. I'm just looking at the past pictures. We've got days and 35 to 60 kilometers. Now, my initial thoughts was maybe she wasn't that far, and that could still be the case. Very much the case, but for some reason I'm picking up now that she may have been taken out of the area and driven to an area that almost even has like thatched roofs, looking like this place here. You see the thatched roof with the, yeah. And it says commune, but it could be a multiple, like a little village of homes that kind of look a little rustic, if you will. And that they needed to stop at a fuel station. So there's key, maybe surveillance evidence or purchase evidence of, like, you know, bank records, or, you know, the cashier keeping records of a transaction that corresponds with what they see on the surveillance video. And so it would behoove law enforcement to look at a particular route that could lead to a droughtful area, that area that is specifically experiencing a lot of drought, even famine, or not famine, you know what I mean, but just like it's kind of destitute, it's rough, there's geopolitical stuff going on there. Yeah, it's not, it could still be within the U.S. border, but I don't know. I'm getting a sense it may not be, with 1,000 kilometers in a radius between like a drive time between like 2 or 3 in the morning to dawn. You know, what does that work out to? And if we do a map, and I may just do a map from her home and then in different directions to travel, where would that land us? That kind of has some of these key components, and that a critical clue related to unlocking the location that she may have been taken to, or at one point was at, or maybe the perp was located or at. It's, even if they put her somewhere, they traveled somewhere and they had to stop at a fuel station. Now, I know that there is a nearby Circle K and I think a Chevron gas station near Nancy's home that I guess they had some key evidence there. And that's important because perhaps they were fueling up for a long trip. But I get a sense that no, there is also other gas stations along their route that has also key evidence, okay? It says refueling stop, convenience store, charging station, okay? Maybe stopping somewhere to eat with this kitchen card. Stopping somewhere to stay and to eat. Then we've got lighthouse, guiding light, symbol of hope, watchful sentinel. Guiding light, symbol of hope. Keeping hope alive, that answers will come. We will find her or find out what happened. Winding path, curving trail, twisting route, meandering passage. So that's another clue about a particular road that they may have taken, the road less traveled, a road that may not be so conspicuous to law enforcement, okay? So that's what I'm picking up on here. And yet again, we got another card talking about a boat, a vessel of some sort, or a body of water, because that's also listed here. And in my picture from my Secrets Revealed True Crime Oracle deck, it shows, I labeled it boat, but it's obviously a boat on water. So something along those lines, maybe near a body of water, near a lake that's like shallow because it's experiencing a drought. I don't know. Or it's always experiencing a drought. It's a known body of water that has gone through significant times of drought. It could be a meandering passage, twisting route. And when I think of meandering, like living in California most of my life, Northern California at that, there are some roads, there's the main highways you could take that are pretty straightforward, not really curves in the road. And then there's these little roads, you know, that's off the beaten path. Sometimes law enforcement's through there, but most times they're not. And it's just an easier passage to get through if you're trying to escape attention. Okay. And so in the Mother of Fire, it's to me speaking about a couple of things. It speaks to, again, some kind of indigenous area or somewhere that has an area that, remember I was saying it just feels like a throwback, if you will. You all let me know what you think this is speaking to. It also represents the season of spring or the timing of weeks. I pray it doesn't take several weeks for us to get all the answers, but it could. You know, I don't know. It could. All right. I think we're good there. We're going to now pause. I think I'm just going to take a picture of these cards, and then we're going to move on to question number 2. Question number 2. What is the real motivation in this whole kidnapping thing with Nancy Guthrie? Now, you saw in part 1, we got some cards here. We got this uniform impersonation. Corruption stands out. Somebody being highly corrupted in this whole situation. Obviously, you have to be corrupted and demented to do something like this. This is cruel on so many levels. And then false. So there we go. And then we have this lust, affair, temptation, and infidelity. But temptation, the temptation to engage in this corruption. So I keep that in the back of my mind. That's as far as I'm going to touch on these cards right now, because I want to do a standalone when I sit with them for a while. Sometimes I sit with cards and see what comes up as the days progress, you know. So I'll set these to the side. But we want to look at the tarot for a moment. Daughter of Air. This came up in a pre-reading I did on this question. The Fool. That's the motivation. Someone seeking out a new beginning. We have the 8 of Earth. It's a circumspection, but it's in reverse. It's in reverse. And that 8 of Earth, 8 of Pentacles. Disruption, disrupting something, needing a new beginning, needing something new for people to focus on. What do we focus on when a baby is born? The baby, right? It's kind of a juvenile motivation, though, with this Page of Swords or Daughter of Air. Like it's like immaturity. This idea that you could do this in the hopes of distraction, in the hopes of a new beginning, being birthed, and shaking things up, knocking people off course. And you wanting a new beginning, why? So now we're going to get into the why with the oracle cards. Why do you need a new beginning? And why do you need to shake people off their course? Got signs. And look at this. So let's look at this card closely. So this is a beautiful 8 of Pentacles depiction. It shows like this line of, from what I understand, elephants walk in this like long line, you know, and look at the little baby right there, right? This long line. When they are moving or migrating. And so in reverse is a disruption of a natural path, a natural, you know, like trying to achieve something, and you want to disrupt that. This to me, this feels like a distraction. I'm just going to say it. A disruption, a distraction. And then you've got this little baby elephant here. And I'll leave it at that. I'll share some of my thoughts in a separate video on that. But we've got this card, signs. The signs. What are the signs? Motive we're asking about. What is the real motivation behind this? Ocean. This runs emotionally deeper than we know. This is a deep, deep thing. Ocean's 11. I don't know why that pops up in my head. Investigator. Who's investigating this? We know the county sheriff's department is investigating, obviously, right? And we also know FBI is investigating, don't we? The investigator card from my deck came up. This is from the Trace Evidence Telling cards. I believe this is the name of this deck. And in part 1, I had an investigation PI card. There's rumors that the Guthrie family has hired a PI, and when I saw that my card come up in part 1, I was like, y'all need to do that. But also there's an issue with the investigation, and so this card comes up again. Investigate the investigator. This runs deeper than you know. The signs are there of what this really is about, but are we going to acknowledge the signs? You know how people say red flags? Oh, the red flags were there and they ignored them. That is us as a population. There are red flags of somebody's petty energy thinking that this could spark a new beginning for themselves and that this could kick off something. They're greedy for more. In part 1, we got the greed card. We got money might be a sideline issue to this. But these oracle cards are telling me something. They're telling me something. I'm going to pull from my deck now, the Secrets Revealed True Crime Oracle. See if we pull up anything about motive. A new beginning. Somebody needing a new start. Propaganda. Okay. Rumors and tabloids. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not your traditional motivations, is it now? Is it? It's not. Privilege. Please check out part 1 if you haven't already done so. Vindication. Please, please, please. There's a few cards in there. The cult card came up. There's a few cards in there that in political affiliation that brought me pause. That was like, oh, we need to look closely at this situation. We really do. And I think I might have to even do like a separate discussion just about those cards and what I think they mean. And you can feel free to share what you think they mean. But motivation, remember, this was the question that we had here. It's a basic question. What was the real motivation in kidnapping Nancy? We've got propaganda, rumors and tabloids. Oh yeah, let's get all in flux with rumors and tabloids. Privilege. Someone's got privileged information. It benefits from privilege. You know, when you think of doctor or lawyer, client, patient privilege, that too, when I created this card, but also someone of privileged status and someone wanting to be vindicated. They want to look like the winners. They want to look like they are succeeding at something and they're vindicated. Interesting motive. Interesting motivation. Signs, ocean investigator. This runs deep. Someone seeking out a new beginning. Someone wanting to shake things up. Quite interesting, isn't it? Whew. Wow. You all let me know what you think of these cards. All right. I'll be back. Okay, so question number 3 is the ransom notes legit or not? Because, what's interesting is in part 1 of my opening oracle reading, the ransom card came up. Even when I was feeling like it doesn't feel legit, we have Mother of Air, Hanged Man. Okay. The Universe. Let me pull from this. Retaliation. Stranger. Okay. So I'm going to tell you this. These 2 cards are what we call neutral cards. They are maybe cards. The Queen of Swords or Mother of Air is a maybe or neutral card, as is the Hanged Man. And then we have the Universe. I feel like one of them is, and I can't remember. There's now been 4 at the time of this recording of ransom notes going into TMZ. And so Spirit is saying, like, there's one key person that actually does have some information, but the rest is like they're just trying to collect some money or trying, look, we've got stranger, retaliation, people wanting, some prestige as it relates to contacting and having their story be broadcasted on TMZ, their story being this, I know where Nancy is. I know who's responsible. And yeah, they want the reward money, sure. But this is a bit more about universal exposure. But this card, the Universe card, is also associated with there being one nugget of truth. Out of the 4, there's 1. Okay? So, and I think there's like one person responsible for 3 of the 4. Is what I'm gathering. So if you take the 21 card, this is the world or universe, 2 + 1 is 3. So you take that and you could say, okay, that one person is possibly knowing what's going on. I say that because of the breaking and entering burglary card. Interesting, right? They got even a little, what do they call it? What do they call it? A little mask. Bakavala? I forgot what you call it. Bakava. You all have to correct me in the comment section. Baklava. Something like that, right? The little mask. So they do know something. They are fearful of some form, not just retaliation from law enforcement, but retaliation from some maybe crime syndicate. But I do get a sense with these 2 maybe cards that there's a couple of like, people just trying to get some monetary gain, just going off the coattails of this story, trying to say, oh, this is a ransom note. Also, check out part 1. I talk quite a bit about my theory about ransom in the first place as it relates to her. It does feel like an afterthought. It doesn't feel like this was what was the whole reason why they did this. So, like there's crimes, kidnapping for ransom. And they go into it with the intention of, I'm going to get a ransom. I'm kidnapping this person and I'm leaving a ransom note. Not even sending. I'm leaving a ransom note right here where the person was last at. And I expect my money. That's not this. This feels something different. Cover up. And like I said, check out part 1. I go into great detail during the part when I did the Divine Crime Oracle reading, and that is time stamped. in the part 1 oracle reading. And then we have truth revealed. So the truth revealed, that is a card saying that there is an element of truth to one particular person who has submitted maybe 3 of the 4 notes to TMZ, and that they do actually know something. Or I suppose the truth revealed could be that the truth will be revealed that they were just opportunists. But I'm picking up on something here with the stranger, retaliation, breaking and entering, and burglary card, and truth revealed. 2 maybe cards, 1 strong yes. And that strong yes adds up to 3. Okay. So yeah, to answer the question, I would say, yeah, there's some legitimacy to them. There's been some false ones, and there's going to continue to be false ransom notes coming through from opportunists. But there is someone who it does have some information about this situation, and they're afraid of this retaliation. And they're in the dark, or they're lurking in the darkness. The stranger card. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 4. We want to know, Spirit, who is responsible, mainly responsible for Nancy's disappearance? Clues on who this person may be. Now, as of today, Monday, June 16th, the sheriff had put out a statement stating that the family is not involved. You know, the sister, the son-in-law, the daughter, Savannah, her spouse, they're not involved. Now, of course, this could change, right? But as of now, law enforcement has basically cleared them. So bearing that in mind, let's bear that in mind. Now, in my part 1, I don't think I necessarily got a vibe that it was, any immediate family members. But I'll have to watch that video again. So, Spirit, who is mainly responsible? And can you give us some clues? The Emperor, Mother of Water. There's another mother here, indicating 2 people. A mother that's close to an emperor. The emperor is someone that's at the helm. He could be a boss. He could have a position of authority in his work life, in his business life. He could be head of his household, a family man, or it could be he runs a business, or it could be that he's really established in a workplace, maybe in a management role. There is a womanly influence here. And I picked up on that in part 1. It could just simply be, a matronly influence, a mom influence, someone who provides counsel to this emperor. Okay. He could have roots to a state or the U.S. capital or the state capital of Arizona, for example. I don't know why I'm saying that other than just looking at this little eagle and emblem and just getting that vibe. Okay, I forgot the capital. I'm so bad. I forgot the capital of Arizona. I used to have to memorize all of the capitals in all of the states. Did you all have to do that growing up? I did, and I forgot. The Emperor, strong male influence. Let's see what we got. Ex-lover's always around. Somebody's, I wonder what that could be. Now, the Mother of Water could be someone that's romantically involved with the Emperor, I suppose. But when I see the Mother of Water, which is the Queen of Cups, traditionally, the mother could literally mean a mother. She is a mother of a child that could belong to the Emperor. Or she's the mother of the Emperor. Or she's like a maternal figure. Okay, Ex-lover is always around. It's an interesting card. Anything else from this deck? Nothing else is popping up. Okay, so some couple of things here. Ex-lovers are always around. This person, this emperor, could have a bunch of ex-wives or ex-partners, or maybe even ex has helped them in the past or helped them even with this crime. There's, maybe stories once this person is arrested, there will be stories from exes coming out of the woodworks saying that this emperor did X, Y, and Z, that they are not surprised, or maybe they are surprised, but that they basically coming out of the woodwork. This person has a lot of relationships that have been burned down. I say that because we also got the bad habits card. Now, this bad habits card can indicate like a drug addiction, or, smokes a lot of weed or cigarettes, drinking, or, gambling, or indulging in criminal activity, or just bad habits, unhealthy habits. Could be also just can't really keep a legit lifestyle. Once they get going, then they are pulled back into some kind of negative something going on in their life. Okay. I'm going to now use this deck. Okay. This card is slick. It's new to me. I think it's called the Character Oracle. Volunteer. Coach. Okay. Okay. Any places associated with these people? The main folk, bank. Gym, physically fit, crossroads. Okay. And I'm getting all the cards on the table before I do the reading. Prominent forehead. Okay. Remember, we're looking at the question of who is the main one responsible. Walking abnormality. Okay. Because I got a sense when I did the opening oracle reading that there were helpers, or one main helper. There's other people in the know about this. It could be someone who has feminine type of qualities about themselves with this Mother of Earth. I'm going to show you the cards that we've got here. So I talked about the ex-lovers always around, bad habits. Then we've got volunteer, selfless devotion, willingness, spirit of service, duty, and dedication. Now, the Emperor can represent somebody who's duty-filled, someone who is expected to do and to perform and to be of service to other people. And I remember in part one getting a sense that with the Sun card, I think it was in the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle reading, that this person ultimately may surprise us because we would expect them to be one way, and then it turns out that they're responsible for all of this. This card can also represent that feminine energy I'm picking up in one of the auxiliary perpetrators, the people who are not the main puppeteer, but someone who is helping to orchestrate it. And so they've got help. This could be also what this card is indicating, that this main emperor has help. He has an empire, and he wants to protect it. This card also, it just hit me. It's a president. Okay, Abraham Lincoln is depicted here. It could be, and I don't want to go down, political route, but in part one, the political affiliation card came up. So if we got a card like that plus this one, we can't, not talk about it. Presidential, though, doesn't necessarily mean the president, although it could mean the president, but it also could mean someone who has a lot of people depending on them and their role. Presidential, right? President of a company, even. But I find that so interesting that I was called to use the New Era Elements Tarot. And the Emperor card is Abraham Lincoln, which is a U.S. president. Okay. And then we have Coach. Train, nurture, develop a plan, encourage, and support. So again, this person has support by someone else. This main perp, they may, again, be in a role that is of service to others, helping others, and you don't expect them to, be a part of something like this. Their role that they partake in our society is not something you expect them to do something like this. Not quite sure what to make of the choke card. We got this on a couple of occasions throughout the readings I've done for Nancy, choke. And it's like the main perp could be responsible for trying to, when you think of choking, you think of restricting flow, airflow particularly, but restricting flow of something moving from one way to the other, news going from one way to the other, your airflow going, being restricted, choke. It could be the physical action of choking someone, or it could be more metaphorical, that you're choking back or causing someone to be careful about their words. It could be something like that. We have here bank, financial institution, saving and investing, loan and credit. Bank records of this person will be explored and looked through. Perhaps this could mean one of the people associated is tied to a bank, works for a bank, has relatives who work for a bank, or this is, them having to do some kind of transaction that actually gets picked up on bank records. Gym, fitness training, strength and endurance, gym equipment. This person could have a gym in their home, or they're very, focused on their physique or working out or staying fit in order to prepare for any kind of fighting that they may have to do. I don't know. Crossroads. Multiple paths, turning point, divergent roads. We talked about that a bit in the earlier question I did in this reading. And I was like, I got a sense that this person really, this main person, the main one responsible, hit a crossroads moment in their life, and they felt like they had to do this in order to elevate. They had to do this in order to move past something, to start anew, to get ahead. And then they made this natural progression. Now, the other thing that this card can mean, a critical clue about this person, is that they could be at a crossroads. You may, if you were close to the perp, you may hear about them having to choose between one path or the other, in a big life choice situation. Or they're dealing with some health challenges and having to weigh this or that. Being at a crossroads. What do you think of when you're at a crossroads moment in your life? And so this main perp, it may be going through something like that. Could be something to do with this mother of water. Also some clues, a prominent forehead, something about their big noggin is, of importance. We have the prominent forehead. And walking abnormalities, something about their gait is different or off, or something we're not used to or noticeable. It could be that they're pigeon-toed or knock-kneed, as they call it, or bow-legged, or they walk with a limp, or there's something about the gait that draws your attention to the main perp. Okay. So this is someone, and then when I look at the Emperor, it can represent a father figure or someone who is a father. Could it be someone in her circle, like or near Nancy? Yes, because of the mother of water. The mother of water denotes like a certain closeness. Maybe not, you know, her family, of course, but it could be someone in her circle. Okay. In her circle, in the know. You have to let me know, you all, what you think of the additional clues that we have here about who the main one responsible for all of this, what these cards are saying. Okay, I'm going to stop here and take a pick. Number 5, that masked person that was captured in the nest video on Nancy's porch. What is the level of involvement of that person? We have 14 temperance, heavily involved. Heavily, how much do they know? Page of water. So here's the thing. They're involved. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, this is not some pansy who's going to take the fall. Like, they are part of orchestrating the plan with this temperance card, that person that's captured. So at first, I know a lot of people were thinking, well, maybe this person is just acting, you know, or being hired. And that could very well be true. But in terms of making everything get into motion and happening, this person is very much all up involved with this temperance Now, there is someone that is more of the mastermind, and that came up in part 1's reading when I talked about it on a couple of occasions. There's a mastermind, and there's someone who's kind of following the lead. This particular person is very much in the thick of this whole crime, in the know, in the orchestrating, in making it happen. However, there's someone that supersedes them. The daughter of water is the Page of Cups. And so in the courts in Tarot, there's a hierarchy. There is the page, which is like, you know, the lowest, going all the way up to the king, right? So you got page, knight, queen, king. Some people might even say, oh, there could be a female involved. And we did pick up on some watery, feminine, emotional, feminine energies earlier in this reading and in part 1. So it could be that. But I get a sense that this person is very much in the thick of things. And will have probably at the same level of, like, what is it, criminal liability as the mastermind. What do they know? They know where she's located. They know, because we got here beach, so that's a location. They know her state of being, or what happened, or the threats that have happened. They know that also whoever is the mastermind is a sociopath. Okay, and that came up in part 1. I know I keep harping on part 1, but that's because that was the foundation of my readings for Nancy's case. So it kind of informs me for the rest of the readings that I do. This could be also, this person may seem like a bumbling idiot, bumbling around, picking up the weeds out of the front yard and trying to cover up the camera. But make no mistake, this person is nutty, as we see with this card here. But they also know how nuttier and crazier the mastermind is. Their job also was to make this seem like a money-motivated crime. You see this? This keyword says money, and these are, it's like, this looks red. Almost like, you know, when we cut ourselves, what pours out, right? So it's got money, dollar signs, to make it appear to be something. So that's very much intentional planning and orchestrating and all up in the mix. It's not like, oh, and now I suppose this card could be like, oh, I hired you. I'm not going to give you the ins and outs. Your job is to go get Nancy, get her out of there, and we handle the rest. But I'm getting a sense of, no, this person that's masked has a lot more level of involvement than just that. Okay, so that's what I'm picking up on. This person, remorse or regret, unlike this person, the mastermind, who has no guilt or regret, the masked person could be filled with regret or remorse. Okay, they may owe some debts, maybe even to the main perp, the main mastermind, or that they want to make it appear that there's some kind of debt that needs to be settled. They're giving the appearance. That's why this whole thing with the ransom, this whole thing with the kidnapping feels very much like an afterthought. We've gotten cards like retaliation and vindication, things of that nature that doesn't quite seem mainly money motivated, but somehow money is kind of loosely tied to it. Like somebody's, you know, well-being is being hampered with. And look, drowning, sitting underneath beach. Again, location of where she could be and state of being of where she is. This person, this masked person, is a key critical person to get a hold of. And they will, because apparently they got the DNA from a glove that likely belongs to that masked person. And so sooner or later, we're going to find out some more information. Okay. Now, even with this, the Temperance represents the Sagittarian season of November 21st to December 20th. Page of Water or Page of Cups representing the timing of 11 days or the season of summer. I'm sensing that very soon, and within the next 11 days or so, we should be hearing more about, you know, evidence about this person. And maybe they have Sagittarius in their sun, moon, or rising, or fire in their sun, moon, or rising signs, astrological signs, or something key about this person that happened in their life during November 21st to December 20th. Or it could be that in the future, maybe an important trial date or an important event happening during the Sagittarian period surrounding this person. But they're, you know, they may try to, you know, minimize their involvement or say we were just doing this and that, but they very much are all up in and through the planning and moving and knowing her state of being, knowing where she's at, all of the things. This person, this masked person. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so now we are at question number 6. And question number 6 deals with evidence. Now, the question I have is, what key pieces of evidence could help solve this case quickly? In part 1, something stood out to me. One of the cards from the murder mystery deck, it says forensic science. The forensic science field will provide important clues, and I'm a firm believer of that. I believe that it will be the DNA evidence that really helps to solve this case. And so that card came up in my February 3rd reading. Okay, so we'll see what else. We'll see what other key evidence. I'm going to look to see in this picture if there's anything else depicted. Not seeing anything that stands out. Maybe, yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Something also in the trash or something discarded. Some kind of trash, because we got that card as well in the opening oracle reading, part 1. Okay, so what key pieces of evidence will help solve this case quickly? We're just going to pull a card here. We have the Hierophant in reverse. It's like unconventional methods to approach things. Maybe that could be the DNA. I know that they're looking at a genealogy form of DNA testing, and that is something that's new-ish to forensic science, DNA science. So when I see the Hierophant in reverse, that's what comes to mind. Here's the Hierophant upright. It is in reverse. When you have the Hierophant in reverse, this is about bucking tradition, going against the grain intentionally, unconventionality, trying a new way, turning something on its head that we've been doing for a long time. So that comes to mind. Father of Earth is interesting. And that also something to do with the DNA, I think, on the paternal side. Let's see what cards come up. I'm going to use my Secrets Revealed True Crime Oracle. Let's do that. And we know that the testing has, been underway. We're just waiting for results. We're waiting for results. They still need to look actually for her, I'm sensing. They need to look for her still. They do. Look at that. Boat came up again. This is twice. Part 1, it came up February 3rd, and then we had another boat card from a different deck, and now this one's come up again. Okay. Key evidence that could help solve this case quickly. Parole or probation. That's interesting. Somebody who's involved has a record, could offer some hidden information. And I have an informant card, but I don't know why when I look at this card, this is what I feel like, some sort of informant. Photos. We also got concealed or hidden, which is why I feel like we need to continue to look for her physical location. Once and that could be very difficult. I know the sheriff said that it could be anywhere between now and up to a year or more that they find her. I think they were just trying to temper the public's expectations when he said that, because a lot of people are expecting the results now, and I think they're very close. I really do think that they're going to be wrapping this up, this active part of the investigation, way sooner. I talk a lot about that in the timing cards in part 1. I will be asking questions in this reading as well about timing. I really just get a sense that they know a lot more and they're keeping it concealed or hidden. Also, when I see this card, yes, this is about concealing evidence or holding back a lot of evidence, not letting the public know every single thing about maybe someone they interrogated already, okay? Someone they detained that had some information that we think, oh, well, nothing came of that. Oh, no, they've concealed what came of this interrogation. So that's going to help solve the case quickly. So that's one aspect of this card. The other aspect of concealed or hidden is this is about a physical location of seeking her, looking for her, looking in culverts, looking in tunnels, looking, trying to find her. And in their quest for finding her, they may find additional evidence. The reason why I go into a lot of meanings, especially with my deck, is because those of you who purchased this deck, the Secrets Revealed True Crime Oracle, you may be wondering how to work with some of the cards. So I like to give you different ways at which you can, pull out the meanings. I hope that makes sense. So then we have vehicle transportation, routes, and following the likely route of where the perp may have once they left her house. And remember how I talked earlier about the radius from the time that her pacemaker went offline to about dawn. That radius, that distance of how far they could have traveled. and that the paths they could have gone, the likely paths. And I'm going to do a map analysis and see like what energetically I'm picking up on. What is a likely route that they could have taken based on the cards that came up in that part of the question in that reading, you know, what we did earlier, and go from there. Vehicle transportation, a vehicle that they will search or have already searched has critical information, critical evidence. Could be forensic evidence, okay, with this vehicle, but also pathways of which a vehicle has traveled. You know, vehicles have little black boxes. They contain data. They have information. And so that too could be looked at as well. Okay. We also have here video, audio surveillance. All right. Now we know that we saw some video. And it's not just the Nest video that we saw as the public. There is video surveillance and audio recordings that law enforcement has heard or seen or will see soon, that they have not and maybe not will not release until this thing has to go to trial, or if they need to release more information about a perp, the main one that they're trying to scare. Everything is also a tactic. There's this sense spirit is telling me that 1 minute they want the perps involved to feel safe so they don't flee, that they want them to slip up, you know, and maybe confide in someone. Then there's other times they go through another cycle of making it seem like they're being hot, like they're hot on the trail. Law enforcement's hot on the trail. Then they pull back. Then they go, you know, they go forward, they pull back. Law enforcement has a strategy. So what may seem like haphazard policing and investigating, but from both local law enforcement and the feds, it may seem like, what are they doing? Why are they doing this? It's all a strategy, all of it. It may look very frenetic for us, the outsiders looking in, but there's a method to the madness. I'm still not quite sure what the boat card, other than just the reference I gave you about the ebb and flow of how the investigation looks. Sometimes they're appearing or want the perps to feel like they are being closely pursued and they're about to get caught. And other times they want them to not feel that way. And it goes back and forth, back and forth. Now, the boat card could be someone is a boat owner. Someone lives or wanted to take her to a body of water, or maybe a key place where she's at is near a like lake something, you know, or river crossing or some kind of boat launch. I don't know, but it's interesting that we keep getting this card coming up, and I can't, you know, I don't always know why a card keeps coming up over and over again until the unfoldment of what happened happens, right? You know, so it's always interesting to hear your takes on why you think a card persistently comes up, or when things start to happen and we see it and we're like, oh, that's why that card came up. What's going on there? Okay. And I talked about this. I feel like someone's been interrogated and we just don't know. Someone's has or will be detained. So this is a heavily, I mean, yes, DNA could be hard evidence, but there's also going to be a lot of circumstantial evidence that they're piecing together. And sometimes while they're waiting for the hard evidence to come about, like they want to get that DNA evidence, they want to try to find some eyewitnesses and whatnot, they have to build up circumstantial evidence, connecting the dots, okay? And so they're doing that simultaneously as they are getting that hard evidence. A lot of circumstantial evidence. Okay, one more card, and then we'll... One more. Father. This again can indicate a father figure, someone who is a father, someone who has someone who's guiding them. So, you know, maybe look at this. Genealogical DNA unlocking on the father's side. I don't know. It's interesting. Father. Noting his colored eyes. They're kind of like a light brown or hazel eyes. They stand out to me. We got earlier the Emperor. Very father, divine, like masculine energy coming through on that. So that's why I feel like there's a couple of different players here. We get that hard masculine energy, and then we get this soft feminine type of energy coming through. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question number 7. What's next for the investigation? I know some people are fearful that this case is going cold because has been a lot of updates. Law enforcement hasn't really been putting out any pressers. But I think people need to know that this is going to be something that's going to take some time. We've got to wait for the DNA evidence to come back. There's multiple people to interview. There's the business of trying to find Nancy herself. There's a lot of different moving parts, and I'm just going to be frank with you all. I feel like there's something conspiratorial going on. You know, I am not one to just lightly go into conspiracy theories. It's just not something I do on this channel, because oftentimes a lot of what is going on can be easily explained with, you know, science and logic and all the things. But there is something going on, and I'm just hoping that a thorough, honest, upfront investigation is going on. I'll leave it at that. We have here so far on the table 2 of air. 2 of air. 2 of swords. It says equilibrium. What's next? Like 2 more months. There is progression in these, and this is good. So I'm going to show you. 2 of air, 2 of swords. It says equilibrium is the key word. Then we have ace of water. Okay. And then 3 of water. Abundance. And so what I'm seeing here, there's a progression. There was a little bit of momentum, then there's stagnation. And that stagnation can stretch over 2 months. But I really feel like we're going to see some movement as we move through February going into March. Okay, so 2 of swords for me represents either the season of early winter or the timing of up to 2 months. Okay, and it represents things like stagnation, stalemate, dead end, impasse energy, not much movement. But behind the scenes, they're weighing evidence, they're considering things. So that is all a part of the 2 of swords, 2 of air energy. Then we have here ace of water. This is something to be hopeful for, folks. When you have ace, that's associated with 1. And then we've got a 3 here, 3 of cups, ace of cups, 3 of cups. There's progression. If you know about numerology, general, like basics, 1 through 10, you know that there's an ascension happening when you go from 1, then 2, then 3. And so there is progression. Whether you all see it or not, there will be a cause for celebration coming, okay, very soon. I mean, the unfoldment of the evidence is coming over the course of days even though it feels like things are moving slowly, because we have a missing person who is vulnerable and we want her home. When you think about it in the grand scheme of things in these big cases, think of like Brian Koberger, the Idaho 4, those young people that lost their lives to that monster. Think about Rachel Morin, okay? It may feel like nothing's happening. And then I saw how law enforcement in many cases, not just those two that I just mentioned, where they take a lot of hits. Like, you aren't doing anything. You're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. And then behind the scenes, they are. There is ascension and progression. So this is very good to see. And we're talking in a matter of days. They are covering a lot of ground, despite what you all think. But this is not going to be something overnight. This is active investigation going on at least for the next 2 months. This is where Spirit is saying, okay, I'll carry y'all. We might have to do another reading after 2 months or so, I guess, would be a good timing to revisit this one if it's still ongoing. But it's moving. It just may look on the face of it like nothing's happening, that it's stagnant. That they're at an impasse, and that FBI and the sheriff's departments are fighting and whatnot. That may be what it looks like, but really, look at how they're almost dancing in concert with one another. Okay? And it's what's behind the scenes that's got me excited about progress and elevation in the case. Okay? So I'm happy to see that. Very happy to see that. False accusations, Lord knows. There's going to be more false accusations. We already had a ton. People being motive, monetary gain. People have been being falsely accused out here in these Tucson streets. I'm saying we have rejection. What's next in the investigation? It could be false accusations about motive. Mountain, another mountain card. We had that in, I think it was part 1, the opening oracle reading. I know there are mountains out that way. They got to go to the mountains. And I wonder if is there a southern mountain range? It looked like there was a mountain range that you're moving north. From Tucson in Arizona, there's mountain ranges, but I have to look at the maps again to see if there's a range. It's like mountain ranges at the southern part. I'm curious. But they got to go into the mountain. They got a mountain of false accusations to navigate through. There's so many theories. Premeditated plan, so many theories. Which leads to false accusations. Spirit wants to just keep harping on she was kidnapped or abducted. I know that at first I even believed that maybe something happened in the house and then she, didn't take a breath outside of her house. But the evidence in the cards, the subsequent cards that came up in part 1 and in this reading indicate that no, she was, when you think about kidnapping or abduction, you are being moved. Even if you're only moved a few feet, even if you're just moved a little ways and you're by your own free will, someone's doing that, then that's kidnapping, that's abduction, that's moving, that's, doing the most. Oh, it's doing the most. So that they are looking at that. This abduction, kidnapping scheme. They're looking at really what's really going on here, though. Premeditated plan. What was premeditated and planned? What was that? When I look at this card, the rejection over this is almost like law enforcement there could be some rejecting of this actual, though. Like this could confirm, yeah, she's kidnapped. Or it could be, if you look at the cards, like up and down, a rejection or finding evidence to reject this being like the main thing. Like, oh, we wanted to, abduct her. I've been starting to see theories, and I could see where that could come into play. A retaliation against either Savannah, her daughter, Nancy's daughter, or Nancy herself. And it going too far. Or that, yeah, they had this idea to take her, but then this went way too far. It could be something like that. But premeditated and planned, these people are going to be doing some serious time. I don't know. Is the DP available in Arizona? And if the feds pick, I don't think the feds will probably be doing the prosecution. It probably will be Arizona, the state. So I don't know. This is oof. Yeah, they're going to be facing some hard time. If not, this is a capital case, and they could very well be facing life without parole or the DP. And I say that because when you're talking about premeditation and plan, and someone, you doing all this, and if she loses her life, and you'd have to check out the video I did just talking about her state of being. I did just one little 11-minute reading on that. But if she, even if they say, oh, well, we didn't do anything, she just kind of died on her own, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Wow. These are the aspects that they're looking at. Monetary gain, following the money trail. It's not necessarily just, oh, we want to get ahead. It's just about following that money trail, following receipts, following the money, basically. Having to sift through a mountain of false accusations. But this is also literally having to go to a locale. And if you see here, there's like a valley, foothills, some sort of foothills before the mountain. Okay. So they have all kinds of investigators looking at the data with banking and all of that going on, and these ransom situations going on, and seeing if there's anything there. They're having to get witness statements. They're having to go to all these different stores to try to identify where things that they saw in the surveillance videos, where they were purchased. And then you have to do all of that. There's investigators doing all of these different tasks. So that's why it's going to take some time. You're going to have to put on your patient hats. And then they have to sift out and be able to prove premeditation and planning. Obviously, there's plenty of evidence of that. But it's enough that, yeah, we could say that as people, but you got to be able to prove it in a court of law. And if you've ever watched trials over the years, you have seen that what may look like to us, the lay people outside of a courtroom, it may look like a slam dunk. No, may not be, because certain evidence could get kicked out. So they've got to be very careful how they navigate this, and they have a lady's life on the line. And I hate to say it, the most critical piece of evidence is her. Above all, the DNA. She is the most critical piece. So, I don't envy the investigators, and my heart really goes out to the family. I just can't imagine the horror that they're experiencing right now. Every time I see Savannah on the videos, I feel like the tears welling up inside of me. I just feel really bad. Like, and I can only imagine that's like a fraction of how she's feeling right now, and her family. All right. We got one more question. Question number 8. Will Nancy be found? And can we get some timing cards, maybe on when or key developments? We did do a timing oracle reading in part 1, so check that out. Yeah. That's interesting. This is a yes card. I'm going to look for a 2 out of 3. It's an interesting yes card because Well, I'll show you in a moment. The moon. Will she be found? Will Nancy be found? Yeah. It's going to take some... Okay. We got some good news. We got 2 out of 3 affirmative yes cards. So, now, in a Thoth-based tarot deck, the Justice and Strength cards are switched. And so, this card is Justice, but it's switched and it's got a different keyword. It says adjustment, but the Justice card, as is the Strength card, are both yes cards for me. They indicate that justice will come. Justice will come. Okay, so that's very, very good to see. It's the sign I was looking for. Now, then we got a no card, but this is like, Spirit is like, temper yourselves, folks. You're going to have to adjust your expectations with this adjustment keyword here. The moon represents, we're going to be in the dark for a little while longer. It represents the time period of February 21st to March 20th. It's like the darkness before dawn. And we have to go through the darkness to get to the light, to understand what's going on, the shadowy aspects of this case. What isn't done in the dark comes to light. And so, yes, it's a no card, but it's an important card. Like, we have to allow this investigation to unfold, but we also have to demand transparency once more of the information comes out, because I think that they're going to give us this oversimplified reason as to why this happened. But we need to understand the motivations of big players in using this case to level up. That could be from the county level to the state level to the feds. And when I say feds, I'm talking about the federal government, okay? So we have to understand that. Sometimes it could be innocent enough. They want to be able to level up because they want to write a book, or they want to be featured on television shows or on podcasts. Or it could be something more sinister. So we have to understand that there's layers to this. Things that we do not understand, we do not see, and we have to insist, because more cases like this could start to pop up, even for us little people, in the volatile times that we find ourselves in. I say little people, I'm not a millionaire. Are you? Like, I'm talking about the everyday folk. Not just millionaires who may be targeted. So we have to be vigilant with this case. It is important. Yes, it seems sensationalized. Some people are saying, well, why do you all care about this so much? There's reasons why. And we can talk all about it. Okay? Respectfully, of course, but we can talk about it. Then we have 9 of Earth, 9 of Pentacles traditionally. Gain is the keyword associated for this particular 9 of Earth. And it is a good card to get. It is a yes card. It is an affirmative card that, yes, she will be found. Look, it's like I'm unearthing something here. I'm scooping up something, I have something in my hands. So to answer our question, will she be found? And to that end, will justice be served? Yes, with this Justice card. But we've got a little ways to go in the investigation. So I'm going to pull some cards. April is of significance. I felt that with the reverse Hierophant earlier. We had the Hierophant represents the time period of April 21st to May 20th. But April is of significance. It could be, someone's birth month or something down the line, or a past April. But it could be something with the trial way down the line of significance. 2 to 4 people. This is going to take some time, folks. It's going to take some fun. Look. Oh, thank you, Spirit. It's going to take some time to unravel all of this and to get proper justice for her. I'll pull some timing cards in just a moment. We got April. This is from the Divine Crime Oracle. We've got 2 to 4 people, small, intimate group, in the know. Okay, in the know or actively involved. Oh, this is sad. Tied up and bound. Keep hope alive that she's with us still. And lastly, arrest and caught. That's a very good sign. Now, the timing, I've mentioned to you all the timing of the moon card, right? This card. That represents February 21st to March 20th. The timing associated with justice for me is October 21st, or excuse me, September 21st to October 20th. And then, like, you could think about autumn being of significance down the line with this case. Now, I'm hoping it doesn't mean it's going to take till autumn, between February and autumn. Hopefully not. The 9 of Earth represents either the season of late autumn or the timing of up to 9 years. Again, I don't think this is going to be a cold case. I don't think it's going to take that long, but legal wranglings can go on for a long time. Okay, especially if you're talking about 2 to 4 people involved. Okay. May not take that long. Like I said, up to 9 years, you know, but could just be speaking about the season of autumn being of significance. And we're going to pull from the timing deck. And thank you all for hanging out with me this long. This is a long video, but I don't plan to, unless there's some other big breaks in this case, I don't plan to do another reading on it. I've recorded the readings I'm going to do, and then we'll see what happens. Well, the key things that I was concerned about was that this was going to be solved, that she's going to be found. The arrests are going to be made. These are things I'm picking up on energetically. Some people are very good and keen at being able to pick up exactly where she's at because they're mediums and psychics. Some of us are cartomancers. We're card readers, you know, and we're intuitive too. And we're tapping into that as well. But some of us are strictly by the book card readers. So, you know, everybody brings something to the table when we're doing these types of readings. And so for me, I had my list of questions and they were answered as best that Spirit was willing to release that information. Okay. So far, I'm wondering if these, I'm going to look at the, hold on. I'm going to stop here for a moment. I wanted to look at the past timing cards I got in part 1. And see if there was any overlaps. And there are. There are. So November came up in that reading, in the part 1 reading. November came up. Another key thing that came up that's not here is March. We also got spring, September, next month, October, and looks like July. And rapid movement is one of the timing cards. So Spirit is like, this thing is going to keep going. It's moving. It's moving. There's a lot of eyes on this, a lot of interest. So they can't just, you know, not be working on it. They won't be doing that. They will be working. Sunday is of significance. Maybe an arrest happens with one of the people, or a big drop of information comes on a Sunday, or it could be the Sunday. Remember, she basically went missing in the wee hours of Sunday morning. She was last seen Saturday night, January 31st, but Nancy probably went missing in the wee hours of February 1st, Sunday. And so Sunday obviously is critical. And they have to work their way with that, starting at that critical point and work their way out. We've got June on the table, so summer, something about summertime, especially since in the earlier part 1 reading we got July. We got November again. 9 to 12 weeks makes sense. It's gonna take a few months. Pace yourselves, brace yourselves, folks. But there's movement. There's fortunate things happening here. An arrest and caught. Who are they arresting and catching? The person, the person who is associated with tying her up and binding her. 2 to 4 people involved. And April is of significance. Spring is of significance. So there's a lot happening here, folks. Especially within these, the 9 to 12 weeks following her disappearance. So hold tight. Keep the faith. Send loving thoughts and vibes to the Guthrie family. They really need it right now. They asked us for prayers. They asked us to be vigilant and report any tips. Now, credible tips now. Don't get all crazy and be like, oh, I saw it on this channel that they said this and that. Credible tips. We want Nancy home. We want the full truth. We want transparency. And we claim that. Ashe. And so it is. All right, friends, that's it. We are wrapping this up. And give me some additional thoughts here on anything you see come up in this reading. Thank you for hanging in there with me. And if some developments come up down the line, let me know. And we may need to come back here to the reading table and do another reading. But I have a sense that since my questions are answered, I don't feel like I need to know more. I needed to know that at some point a conclusion would be had sooner than later with her. That, what is she okay? Will she be found? And so I did 2 readings today surrounding Nancy. And I got my answers. And so I hope you got your answers too. Do me a favor on your way out. Please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot to me. All right, friends, take good care of yourselves. Bye for now.